Me oh my, I saw this in the cinema, Nick, and can I tell you, I saw this yesterday afternoon, and there were three, might I say, older women that probably about 45 minutes, an hour into the movie, they walked out of Babygirl.
Yes, some people walked out of the screening I was in as well. It's true that the sexuality in the movie is quite excruciating at times, and we can get into why that is. But I really love this, and I think Nicole Kidman is just extraordinary in this film. She plays Romy Mathis, who is the CEO of a robotic automation tech company in New York City. Her husband looks like Antonio Banderas, Jacob Mathis. He's played by Antonio Banderas. Yes. She's got 2 kids, and everything is going really well for her. But we learn in the opening scene of the film that she is physically unfulfilled in this marriage of 19 years. And she has these desires and proclivities and kinks, if you will, that she's repressed and been too ashamed to voice to her husband. She meets a young intern that comes to work at her company, played by Harris Dickinson, who was great in The Iron Claw and most memorably in Triangle of Sadness. He was a lead in that. He plays Samuel, and they have this fairly instant connection. It's very much unspoken, but it becomes this little bit of a power game between the two, which then becomes an actual tryst. And he seems to intuit what these desires are that she has, even though he's much younger than she is. And they do have this adulterous affair in which she is able to finally explore these desires that she has. And the film doesn't really, I think, ever go quite where you expect it to. And it's almost the antithesis to a film like 50 Shades of Grey, where the sexuality is presented in, I think, a very realistic way. And they're kind of fumbling their way through this experience together. So I think Kidman is just amazing. Dickinson's great. I think he can't wrestle the spotlight from Kidman, though. She's just extraordinary in this.
Yeah, I really loved it as well. I really did think Nicole Kidman is just amazing in this role. And I think such a bold role because it's such a vulnerable role. She is quite literally naked, significantly naked in some parts of the film, which, you know, for an actress later in her career could just choose not to do that.
Yeah.
But she's decided to take on a role that is dangerous, it is provocative, it is vulnerable. And I was like sitting there being like, Nicole Kidman's going for it. She's doing a role like this, which I think is kind of like hats off, and she's pulling it off.
It's very intimate scenes. That's why some people are finding it quite squeamish at times. It's not the most sexually explicit film you'll see, but the way that the sexuality is depicted is quite full on. It's made by this writer-director, Helena Rain, who's a Dutch filmmaker, and she's clearly a fan of those 90s erotic thrillers. And I think the film in some ways is in conversation with that genre, but the difference with Babygirl is that it's told from the female perspective, very resolutely told from the female perspective. So you get this very different twist on that kind of raunchy 90s erotic thriller, which is one of my favourite genres, just quietly. So I totally got what Rain is going for with this film, and I think we both agree that Kidman is extraordinary.
Yeah, don't go into Babygirl with your eyes closed on just how much overt sexuality is in this film.